Anioma is historically an Igbo enclave. And there's no doubt about that. From our names to our language, to our culture, our tradition, our food, everything is Igbo. And we have always identified ourselves as Igbos. Of course, there were two reasons why, for so many, almost like centuries, we were kept at the back burner, kind of confined to Western Nigeria. And why most people or some people from my area seem to have gotten to the point where they were not sure whether they were Igbos or not Igbos. But majority of us understand who we are and understand where we've come from. And let me just explain what I mean. There are, during the war, the Civil War, most people, we had the Asaba massacre. After the Asaba massacre and the rest of the killings within our area, we were told as kids that if you see Nigerian soldiers, you must not admit that you are Igbo. You must tell them that you're from Benin or that you are Yoruba. These are kind of things that we had to do to survive the ethnic cleansing that happened at that time. So, of course, there was also this issue of Benin Empire. At the time there was a Benin Empire where, Benin at its height extended their tentacles to our area. So much so that some people began to think that they were Benis. But we're not Benis, we're Igbos. There's nothing Benin about us. Our people.
9 local government
areas.
In that senatorial district.
And we are almost completely Igbos. Of course, there are arguments about some areas, where some people have come from Igala or come from Benin. But the fact is that, according to Delta State gazetted laws, there are only 5 ethnic groups in Delta: the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Ejos, the Shekiris, and the Isokos. There's no mention of Benin. There's no mention of Yorubas, or also within Delta North.
Apart from Delta North, there are those who say, and you might be touching the wrong nerve here. In River State, for example, that there are Igbos there.
Oh, of course, yes.
The Ikweres.
Opobos.
Or the Opobos.
They're everywhere. Igbos are everywhere. Igbos actually.
So, if for example, are you hoping that they will join the Anioma State, or Anioma State is going to solely from your proposition and the literature that they have put forward, is going to be solely from the 9 local government areas of Delta North?
Look, initially, my bill was centered around the 9 local government areas of Delta North. And however, a lot has happened since then. But if you look at the explanatory note to my bill, it talks about the Anioma State to become the 6th state of the Southeast, the 37th state of the country.
Does the Southeast, so the 5 states in the Southeast see you as Igbos?
Of course, yes.
And I've heard, I don't speak much of Igbo, but I've heard
I can tell you, look,
the 45 Igbos of the Anomas.
No. Every language has dialects. Every language, even Yorubas, from Lagos to Oyo to...
Even the Enugu Igbo is different from the Abia Igbo, is different from the Onitsha Igbo.
Of course, yes. But we are all Igbos.
In as much as I don't believe that Nigeria need a new state, because most of the states in Nigeria are not economically viable. So there is absolutely no reason for the creation of new state. I think all this state creation is a distraction. Nigeria is facing an existential threat. We are battling with the 2027 general election, and we don't even know if Nigeria is going to exist beyond 2027 because of how heated up the polity is. But then, we should also appreciate the fact that Nwoko and Anioma state creation is opening up a lot of persons to understand forgotten history about the Igbo people, about how the Igbo land was balkanized, about how Nigeria politically balkanized Igbo land just because they want to weaken the Igbo people. If the Anioma people who are residing in current-day Delta states can embrace their Igbo-ness, can agree that they are Igbo people, then what is stopping the Ikwere from River State from accepting that they are Igbo people? I think this is what Nwoko Anioma state creation is going to bring. The push for Anioma state creation is like opening up a dusty old book that tells a story many people have forgotten or pushed aside. Anioma state, if it finally materialized, will shine a light on how Igbo land was balkanized and scattered by the federal government of Nigeria, even before the federal government politically balkanized Igbo land. The British colonial masters were even the first to balkanize lands belonging to Igbo people when they drew lines on maps without caring about tribes or family. The Igbo people who live as one big group across wide area got divided. Some ended up in the eastern region, but others, like those in what is now Delta, Edo rivers, and even part of Benue, Cross River, were lumped with non-Igbos. For the Anioma people, this meant that they were being tied to Bini lands in the old Midwestern region, even though their roots traced back to Igbo migrations from the east. In Delta State, towns like Anioma, Asaba, Ibuzo, Ogwashuku share Igbo names, gods, and way of life, but the colonial rulers called them Midwestern Igbo or even Bini. Then came the Nigerian Civil War from 1966 to 1970, which made the split even deeper. Anioma paid a heavy price. On October 7, 1967, the federal troops marched into Asaba and killed hundreds of men and boys in the Asaba massacre. Survivors had to swear they were not Igbo to avoid more deaths. After the Civil War, the government reduced state in 1976 and again in 1999, creating Delta State. But Anioma State was forced to stuck in the South-South zone with non-Igbos. The balkanization went further. Not just Anioma, Igbo groups like Ika in Edo State, Eche, Oyibo, Ikwere, or in River State were all taken away from the Igbo people. This is how the federal government politically divided the Igbo people just to weaken them. Nwoko call for Anioma State is waking up people to their lost glory, to their lost story, to their cultural heritage. By naming Anioma as Igbo and giving it a state, it forces Nigeria to admit the old wrongs they did to the Igbo people. This is going to remind everyone that Igbo land was once whole, from markets, marriages, and gods. This state push is definitely going to heal old wounds. It will let the young Anioma kids learn their full history in schools, not just the chop-up version. It will make them to understand that the split that was done in Igbo land was not a natural split. It was done to control, and it is now time to mend it. If Anioma State is successfully created, it could be a glue that will pull scattered Igbo groups back together. Right now, Igbos outside the southeast feel left out. The creation of Anioma State could fix that by giving them a clear home in the Igbo food. It is going to spark a chain of reaction of unity for everyone in Igbo land and outside Igbo land. One of the arguments for the creation of Anioma State is that it will boost the Southeast numbers. The Southeast has 5 states, but adding Anioma as a 6th will balance the equation with other zones. This means more seats in the Senate, more votes in elections, and a louder say in sharing oil money from the eastern region. Creating Anioma State is going to heal family ties that was broken many years ago. Many Igbo border groups like those in Delta, Edo, or Benue State have kin across state lines but can't team up easily because of zone rules. Anioma State would let them claim Igbo pride openly without fear of losing local jobs or facing bias. Imagine if Anioma State becomes successful. It will automatically make the people of River State to also believe that they are Igbo people. If the people of Delta State can accept and embrace their Igbo-ness, what is stopping the people of River State to also embrace their Igbo-ness? But like I said, I believe all of this is all distraction. Because Nigeria does not really need a 6th state in the southeast. Nigeria does not need any state because most of the states are not economically viable. I believe it is all politics because just like Nwoko said, Bola Ahmed Tinubu promised him Anioma State. That is the reason why he decamped to APC. That means he decamped to APC because he believed that the federal government will help him to get Anioma State. Politics. Listen to his interview. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.
Done so many impossible things.
Of course, yes. So
Even
this,
personally, you have done many impossible things.
Tell me what it is. But
You married 4 wives. That's almost an impossible. In all of this, how do you manage it? Because it's incredibly difficult, even being with a partner. Not talk of 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't have any regret.
The example I gave is this, you know. Just imagine telling you to stand on one leg. You know how difficult it is. But to stand on 2, 3, 4 is much more balanced. That's just the example I gave.
Wow.
Do you understand it? So I feel sorry for those who have one wives, because it's difficult to stand on one leg.
And you don't have any regrets?
No.
If you have your way, you still marry more.
I will do the same thing again
and again.
Of course, yes.
And you have a knack of marrying beautiful women, young ones too.
This is the way it is. And that's the way it should be.
But you're not the ones that beat them.
You should marry who you want to marry.
You're not the one that beats them.
No, come on. I am not a violent person. I respect my wives. I love them. And I love my kids. No, not at all. Not at all.
All right. So the impossibility brought us there. That's not the topic. The impossibility brought. There are those who say, legally speaking, procedurally, this is almost impossible.
No, it is not. What is impossible about it? I remember when I discussed this with the president, as I was saying before, he assured me before I left PDP to APC that he will support it as long as we at the National Assembly are able to do our work. And our work is almost done, because by the time we get to the third reading and then the referendum, the president will take it from there.
A referendum is an expensive task. Anyway. It's like an election.
It is a plebiscite.
Yeah, it's a plebiscite.
And it will be done.
It will be conducted in Delta.
And the 5 states of Southeast.
Of the Southeast.
Of course, yes.
And you think that will happen?
Of course it will happen. It's a process.
The National Assembly has to, the houses of Assembly have to concur.
Yeah, of course. Those are the least of the problems. Because at the right time, Mr. President will call the governors and tell them to append their signatures.
The reason why I recall your legal your expertise or training is the fact that in the last 27 years, the last person that is able to create a state is the military government. And if you look at the section of the Constitution that states the creation of states, local government, boundary adjustment, and all of that, it makes it extremely difficult to be able to add to what we have in existence. And that's why a lot of lawyers, a lot of legal minds will tell you it's almost an impossibility.
Look, what the Constitution has done is to provide for steps to be taken, provide for things to be done, and you just follow them. For example, this president is very strategic, and he has done wonderful things, and I know he will still do many wonderful things. But the most important thing that he would have done for us, the Aniomas and the Igbos generally, is to give them that one state. Something that, as you said rightly, that no other civilian administration has done. So he will do it.